Speaking of Monday Night Football, we are now joined by Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, who will be on the call for Colts 49ers. How we doing? Troy, I ask you, Phillip Rivers came out of retirement to lead the Colts down the stretch here. What's your take on the whole situation, and how can Shane Steichen get the most out of a 44-year-old quarterback moving forward?
Well, I found last week to be pretty interesting with Phillip Rivers. Well, first of all, I'm just amazed at his age that he decided to come back and play. And I'm sitting down with him actually on Sunday. I'm looking forward to talking to him mostly about how he has been able to recover this week. Because it's one thing to be able to go out and play at 44 years old. It's another thing to be able to bounce back a week later and then go try to do it all over again. The game plan last week, as we all saw, was about him getting the ball out of his hands quickly and trying to run the football. And it went to perfection up until the very end, defense unable to make a last stop. But I'm impressed with what he's been able to do, and I'm looking forward to the fact that he'll be playing on Monday night, and we'll be covering it. So I'm excited about it.
Hypothetically speaking, I know you are a body is a temple man. If you played on Sunday, how long do you think it would take to get out of bed the following morning?
Well, hey, I was 34 years old when I retired. It took me a few days back then. That was over 20 years ago. So that's what I'm saying. Even my last couple of years of playing, I would usually be at my sorest around Tuesday, and later in my career, it was more like Thursday or Friday. So not that he got hit a ton, but still, just the simple fact of throwing the football, if you really haven't been throwing or you're not in game condition, and we all know, those of us that once played, the demands physically, and then to be out of football that long and at that age is pretty impressive.
Rivers is up against 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. As you start to really pour into the film, what are you seeing from him in that 49ers offense since he's gotten back on the field?
Well, I think the one thing to remember is they were all together week one, and then with the variety of injuries they've had, George Kittle, of course, Purdy missed time. It was just a few weeks ago that they got everybody back on the field offensively. I know the last time we saw the 49ers against Carolina, Brock had a tough outing. They were able to win that game still, but he had 3 interceptions in that first half. But the last 2 games, I think he's playing his best football right now. And what I've seen without a running game is he's had to create a lot with his legs, and he's done a good job of that. I think he's a real weapon. I think he's a much better athlete probably than he gets credit for. I like his moxie. He's extremely confident. That at times creates a lot of big plays for him, and then at times, sometimes it gets him in trouble. But you want a guy like that at quarterback, especially within this offense. They haven't run the ball nearly as well as they have in years past. It's shocking, quite honestly, because I still think Christian McCaffrey is exceptional. They just have been unable to get that part of it going. And the offense, of course, with the defense that they've had with the injuries, it's really incumbent on them offensively to carry this football team. And the fact that they are where they are right now within that division, still with an opportunity to win the division. I know the big game tonight you guys broke down is going to be huge. But the 49ers have positioned themselves in a really good spot as we go through these last few weeks.
You guys were great on the call on Monday night. Aaron Rodgers was pretty good on the field, too. Thought this sound was interesting. Take a listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say the day after the game on Monday night.
So it's kind of what I said after the game. There's some cast-offs if you look at our roster, which makes it really special. Kenny Gainwell signed a next-to-nothing contract. Connor Hayward, an afterthought, had a touchdown run. Marquez been on a couple teams. Adam Thielen got cut. Samuel was on the street for a long time. So it says a lot about the character of the guys we brought in.
Do you consider yourself one of those cast-offs too?
No, I'm not a cast-off.
Hit a nerve there. Hey, it's okay for him to call others cast off, but don't call him one.
I loved it. How quick he was. I am not a cast off. How dare you?
Yeah.
But this chip on his shoulder, it's there, man. Have you seen that in his play the last couple of weeks? These 2 wins after everyone was saying fire Tomlin and let's move on to a new quarterback.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I think a little bit of that comes with age as a veteran quarterback. I think you're less tolerant of a lot of things, especially as a guy who is a future Hall of Famer who's obviously got a resume you'd stack up against anyone's. I like where this team is right now. Now they're fighting an uphill battle, and we know that. And I think we all tend to kind of get overexcited from one week to the next. Big win against Baltimore a couple weeks ago. Good that they were able to follow that up at home. I think, and I mentioned it after the game, I think it'll be interesting if, in fact, they do win the division and make it into the playoffs. When you consider his experience in the postseason and what that might look like when he goes up against some of these younger quarterbacks, maybe a Bo Nix with Denver or Drake May, New England. And I think the same can be said for Josh Allen when he plays against some of these teams. So the AFC will be interesting. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get in, I'm as curious as anybody to see what that might look like, because just getting to the postseason, as we know, it's not enough for the Steelers and that organization, nor should it be. It's a prideful group. It's a prideful quarterback. And maybe they're starting to peak at the right time. Like the 49ers, I do think the Steelers are beginning to play some of their best football, which is what you hope to be doing this time of year.
No doubt. Troy, we appreciate you joining the show on a Thursday. I will never call you a cast-off, just so you know. That's fine. That's it. We won't do it. That's it. See you Monday night, my friend.